Hello and welcome back to Heimlich's History Economics Edition. And in this video I'm going to introduce you to your first graph of the course, the production possibilities curve. Let's get to it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, there's going to be a lot of graphs to learn over this series of videos, but the production possibilities curve is probably the easiest, so enjoy it while it lasts. Side note, sometimes you'll hear this graph referred to as the production possibilities frontier, but it's the same thing. Now, before I show you what it looks like, let me define a few things. Now, as you may remember from a previous video, that nobody can put in their want hole everything at once. That's called scarcity. So that means we have to choose one thing to stuff into our want hole at the expense of something else. That's called a trade-off, and we measure that trade-off in terms of opportunity cost. So for example, let's just say that you want to open a goat yoga studio, and I know you do. Let's just say for simplicity's sake that you only need two things: goats and yoga mats. Alright, it's graph time. Okay, on this graph, this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. And on the x-axis, we're going to put our quantity of goats. And on the y-axis, we're going to put our quantity of yoga mats. And this line right here is our production possibilities curve. So here's what this curve is telling us. If you want to buy 30 yoga mats, that means you're going to get 0 goats. On the other hand, if you want to buy 40 goats, you're going to get 0 yoga mats. Those are the trade-offs. And neither of those scenarios are going to work for us. So let's say we decide on a trade-off at point A. At this point, given our limited amount of money, we can buy 15, that's roughly 15, yoga mats, and 20 goats. But let's be honest, no one is coming to goat yoga for the mats. So with our limited resources, let's get more goats. And that happens at point B. So here we get 30 goats and 10 yoga mats. That's our trade-off. And to me, that feels about right. Now here's the thing. If our company produces at either of these points, point A or point B, or for that matter, at any point along the production possibilities curve, that means that we are operating in what's known as efficiency. If an economy is efficient, that means there are no missed opportunities anywhere along the curve. But let's just say that I'm downright lazy about my business and I'm not producing at the level of efficiency. And let's say that happens right here at point C. And here I get 10 yoga mats and 10 goats. But the problem is I could be producing more. Anywhere along this line, I could be producing more. And that means I'm not going to make as much money, and that means that I am operating in what's known as inefficiency. Let's just say that I want 40 goats and 30 yoga mats. This is what we call the don't be stupid portion of the graph, or if you want a more technical term, we say that operating at point D is not feasible. So point A and point B are both feasible and efficient. Point C is feasible but not efficient. Okay, that's how the curve works, and what we've seen in that curve is efficiency in production. But efficiency in production is not the only kind of efficiency that we need to consider. There is also efficiency in allocation. What that means is not every movement along that curve is equally beneficial for YoGoat. For example, let's just say that the customer base where we're opening our YoGoat studio has a rare genetic mutation which manifests in extra fatty deposits on the elbows and on their knees. And since that's the particular condition of your customer base, you're probably not going to need as many yoga mats because they can just do their yoga poses on their fatty deposits. In that case, if we got more yoga mats than we got goats, then it may be efficient in production, but it is not efficient in allocation because we just don't need as many mats. Therefore, the more goats I purchase along that curve, the more efficient in allocation I am. So the best possible case is to be as efficient as possible both in production and an allocation. And that brings us to a question that I know has been costing you no small amount of sleep. Why was that curve that we just saw straight? A production possibilities curve is straight when the opportunity cost does not change as you move along the curve. But in real life, there often is a greater opportunity cost as you make choices. And when the opportunity cost increases, then you start moving along the curve and it looks like this. Okay, now it's a curved line, and what this illustrates is a growing opportunity utility cost as we move along the curve. So here at point A, you can see that in order to provide the first 20 goats, you have to give up 5 mats. So you would think that to get 40 goats here at point B, that all you would have to give up is another 5 mats. But look at what happens. You actually have to end up giving up 25 mats in order to get 40 goats. And with our genetically altered customers, that is a fine situation. But in most real world cases, we're not going to get that lucky. Okay, and there's one more thing that can happen on a production possibilities curve, and that's the expansion of an economy's production possibilities. This production possibilities curve can shift either outward, or it can shift inward. If it shifts outwards, that increases the possibilities of production. If it shifts inwards, that decreases the possibility of production. Now, what might cause those shifts? Now, there are a couple of reasons why that curve could shift outward, increasing the production possibilities. The first way is to have an increase in the resources used to produce those goods and services, namely land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And the second way to shift it outward is progress in technology. So, for example, if we come up with a way to manufacture cheaper yoga mats, then our production possibilities will expand and that curve will shift outward. But that curve will shift inward if we happen to lose access to resources, like say in the case of a war. And that is all that you need to know about the production possibilities curve. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did. I'll see you in the next one. Alright, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. And if you feel like you now understand the production possibilities curve, then let me know by writing Yo Goats down below. And if you feel like this video helped you, then you can expand my video production possibilities by hitting that subscribe button down below. Man, I nailed that application.